p.m. right here on Nigeria Info 95.1 Abuja. This is Hard Facts. We'll be here until 7 o'clock and we are going to have various conversations. But I hope you've had a great time listening to us from the Morning Crossfire to Sports Drive, what's happening in Abuja, the sunny side. And right now it's time to get into some Hard Facts with you. And we'll kick things off with the Roundtable, go through some of the biggest stories making rounds today in Nigeria, 3 of them actually, and we'll get to see what exactly is playing out in the country and how you will be reacting to some of these stories. At 4 o'clock, get into another conversation where we're looking at how we can work on our innovation and economy using startups and how they can, work on funding as well. While at 5 o'clock, it'll be time for the parliament. And we'll look at maybe a law that can stop defections in its tracks. If that's something that can be worked on in good time in a bit to strengthen our democracy. While at 6 o'clock, it'll be time for the news. And afterwards, we get right into your situation update. At 6:30, Medic 951. And at 7 o'clock, hand you over to the Sports Drive team, who will be here until 9 o'clock. And tonight with Sami will take center stage until midnight. So, time to get right into some of the big stories. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. My name is Itodo. I know some people like to add titles to it. I'd answer anything at all that you decide to call me this afternoon. Ensure that you are staying hydrated. It's really hot out there. And good thing it's Baby Friday. Yeah, it's a few hours to the weekend, pre-Friday, pre-weekend vibes. So yeah, ensure that you are making plans to relax this weekend because you've had a somewhat busy week. Let's get into unpacking some of the 3 burning issues making the rounds in Nigeria today. We'll be looking at the defection trend and how it could be weakening the opposition. INEC's move to allow voting without a PVC, as well as the federal government's release of 50 billion naira to university workers and what that could mean for the institutions across Nigeria, as well as strike actions. Thinking about it right now, it's been a minute we heard about any active strike action across Nigeria universities, So that could be something being done right by the government. Some say not really, but some are applauding the fact that it's been a minute we heard any, about any strikes happening in Nigeria universities. But let's get into our first story for today. We'll be looking at a 2027 power shift. Opposition weakens as more PDP governors and senators eye APC. But the latest in defections would be what is playing out currently in Delta State, right? And it raises a couple of questions as to if there's any real ideology left in Nigerian politics, or a party is just a stepping stone to power. Opposition political parties, especially the People's Democratic Party, the New Nigeria People's Party, and the Labour Party, are said to be bleeding as some of their permanent members have dumped their platforms for the ruling All Progressives Congress. Now, the concerned concerned by the wave of defections to the APC, the PDP and the NNPP and the coalition of united political parties have accused the APC-led federal government of exploiting state resources to coerce their members and other politicians into switching allegiance to the ruling party. Now, in response, the APC welcomed the defectors, dismissed the claims from the PDP and the NNPP as unfounded, asserting that politicians are willingly joining the party because of the significant achievements of the president. Well, Okowa's defection to the APC has, somewhat been in the conversation as well. And the minister of the FCT says that it has vindicated his stance on Atiku. In a statement by his senior special assistant on public communications and social media on Wednesday, he said that he has now been vindicated. He called on other Nigerians who are still sitting on the fence to throw their weight in support for the president. And he described the open endorsement of the president by Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, who was the running mate to Alhaji Abubakar in 2023, as a vindication of the position he took, which was based on the interest of a united Nigeria. Now, following in that trail, the presidential aide to the president, Bayo Onanuga, has declared former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's political ambitions as doomed following the rapid disintegration of his proposed coalition and the defection of key allies to the ruling All Progressives Congress. He shared his thoughts in a post on X. I'll read excerpts to that post. I quote him right now. Atiku's political future looks bleak. The coalition of himself, El Rufai, Babachir, and new member Baba Ahmed are cobbling together has disintegrated. Political allies, including the former running mate, Ifeanyi Okowa, and defunct CPC members, are giving his group a wide berth. Atiku is not winning again, end of quote, is how he ended his thoughts on that particular issue. So many are concerned with the recent developments in terms of defections from opposition to the ruling party. And the thing is, defections often happen when politicians feel threatened or sidelined in their party, or when they want a clearer path to federal influence. But here's a twist, right? The more the opposition bleeds, many believe it weakens the democracy that we are set to be practicing right now. And we need a strong opposition to check the government, to challenge ideas, and to present alternatives. So do you think that defections are just politics as usual, or do they show deeper cracks in the system? And what do you think politicians, or why do you think rather, that politicians abandon their parties? Is it due to fear, favor, or frustration? Because many of them will go on to say, oh, they want what's best for their state or their constituency, and that is why they have moved from party A to party B. But where is the place of the people in that decision that you are making? So that's our first story for today, looking at the defections in Delta State and what it means for democracy and 2027. Let's go now to see what INEC is currently working on. They're moving to legalize voting without PVC. Many have called for, changing the laws on our voting system. And INEC has expressed willingness to allow Nigerians, eligible Nigerians, to vote without their PVCs, which is a permanent voter cards, in the 2027 general election. But they're insisting that such a move must be backed by legislative amendments. Now, the chief press secretary to the INEC chairman, Rotimi Oyenkomi, spoke about this on Wednesday, that the commission was committed to expanding voter access through technology. But he emphasized that legal provisions must first be updated to accommodate any shift from the current PVC-only system. Now, the initiative followed remarks by the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, in December 2024 during a quarterly consultative meeting with resident electoral commissions in Abuja. And he highlighted at the time that the growing role of technology, particularly the BVAS, which is the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, in streamlining the electoral process. And he noted that while PVCs will remain valid for those who possess them, future elections could also allow to use slips. generated by INEC or downloaded from its official website for accreditation. And various concerns and questions, are being raised from this, what many describe as a controversial move. The PVC is a tool for preventing fraud. So what happens if it is put to the side? Now, on one hand, millions of Nigerians, especially in rural areas, struggle to get their PVCs. Many people struggled and were a bit unhappy with the difficulty in getting their PVCs prior to the 2023 elections. Now, without PVCs, how do we guard against impersonation, multiple voting, and ghost voters? Now, INEC may want to maybe tie this to the digital IDs, the NINs, which we have. But the question will be, is our tech infrastructure ready to handle that load? Do we have things in place? Are we planning to put things in place in good time before the next elections to be able to achieve this? And would this also give room for anyone to vote from anywhere in the country, which has also been concerning as well? I mean, with your PVC, you have to go to a specific polling unit where you registered to cast your vote, except you're able to transfer it to a new location or where you would like to vote from. But yes, that's what INEC is currently working on, and many are hoping that this would improve our next elections and give it more credibility. So we'll take some thoughts before we get into our third story. It's 3:18 p.m. right here. You can join in. We're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. You can also call in or send a WhatsApp message or a voice note. The numbers to do that, 0700 951 0000 and 08095974869. The WhatsApp number is 08099930137. And try to move away from your device. Once you get through, you would have 90 seconds. And when that elapses, I would have to let you go so we can get to more people and give them a chance to also call in, send a message, and contribute to the conversation. All right? Welcome.
Hello. Mr. Itodo.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, this is Malam Adam Kamari.
Welcome, Malam. Where are you calling from?
My contribution is toward the defection going on in the nation. I understand that is something that happened that is far back 2013, 2014, when we have a lot of political parties, top political gladiators moving from one political party to another, to contest for a vote or to be relevant or to have some appointment by the government. Yeah, I always appreciate, with due respect to listeners or contributors, it's a sudden presidency. I don't care whatever anybody has to think. It's a sudden presidency, and inshallah, God and the people must completely take place. Article 85 think it's going to be Jonathan affair, that Jonathan, like Jonathan sitting down and look a man that will make a sitting president, install a president, Muhammad Buhari 8 years, and now he's in seat. You just started politics in the early 98. It came to be pushed. Everybody came to be pushed to go out. But let me go and learn. It's a 4 years, 2031. All those people.
So Malam, before I let you go, hold on.
Hello?
Before I let you go, is there any compulsion in the law that what? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Is there any compulsion in the law that you must serve 8 terms? I mean, we have elections every 4 years. And once you serve your first 4 years, the people need to decide on if you should be able to serve another 4 years, because the law allows for a 2-term government. But there are instances where if you serve your first 4 years and people do not decide to vote you in the next elections, that should be okay. It should not be seen as a wrong thing.
That should be okay. But we started that far back in 1990, 2007. If they were not satisfied, remember Nigeria went to recession for the first time over 50 years in early 2016, 2017. What did they do in 2019? They still elected Buhari. It is terrible time. We must complete it. The PDP from 1999 used to be a zone for the people, the South for the PDP. Now they are all going to become everybody.
All right, that's a good place to leave it. Let's go on somebody else right now. Welcome.
Hello?
Your device is on. Move away from it. Good afternoon.
Okay.
Okay. When you call in, please move away from your device so I can hear you clearly and we can have a smooth conversation. All right. This is the roundtable. We're going through some of the big stories making rounds in Nigeria today, and you can react to some of the stories that we have gone through so far, looking at the defections playing out currently to the ruling party, as well as INEC's plan to have something else in place besides the PVCs to make voting seamless in 2027. Let's take some messages on the WhatsApp platform right now. If you can keep your messages brief as well, that would be great, because this is a long read. I'd like you to maybe summarize that, because we won't be able to take that. It's really it's a lot to take at this time. Show of shame in Delta State. Atiku has been accused of destroying PDP, which is a thought that Fitzgerald in Airport Road is sharing. I will be short and quick with this. Any attempt to allow this on the Professor Mahmood should be resisted. INEC is trying to create loopholes because we know come 2027, the election is not between the APC against the PDP or Labour Party, but against Nigerian masses who have gone through a difficult time under this administration. The PVC is working, and INEC should ensure that they issue voter cards 3 months before the election so that all eligible voters will exercise their franchise, is what Neme in Asokoro shares. And okay, the Delta State governor and the former governor have joined the APC, is what James in Area 10 is saying. Could it be for freedom? What freedom? And Nigerian politicians can be said to be all about themselves and not the people. For INEC, it's a good move. I really welcome the idea, is what Samuel in Kurudu shares as his thoughts. And Ohis from Kubwa says, until we have it in our laws that whenever you want to defect from a party, you lose your mandate, because that mandate is gotten from votes by the people that voted for that party. Also, until we have it in our process before the elections, you get 2/3 of the signature votes that gave you that mandate. This seemingly absurd defection will never stop, and pained by this easy defection is a thought that Ohis in Kubwa is sharing. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll get back to the phone lines and take more of your messages.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
We've told you about the Cape by Hall 7, the stunning house types, the impressive amenities,
any day. I never
Politicians will continue to decamp from one party to the other because they lack ideology. Although I'm happy with what's going on, some people promised that they are going to treat the president the way they treated Jonathan, and they think the president will fold his arms and watch them treat him like that. Those in opposition too are like that, is what Oludade Abiodun shares as his thoughts. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Welcome.
I just want to say hi.
Okay, hi. Thank you very much for calling in. All right, moving on with more of your messages right now. APC has crippled Nigeria's democracy is what Comrade Ezenwa Charles in Akaraka shares. Let the defection continue and the masses continue to lament. Nigeria, we hail thee, is the thought that he's sharing. And Innocent Wisdom, thank you very much for your message and your thoughts. Bright Mez in Wusei says, I just want to say that those defecting to the APC should go to Abia State and see for themselves. A true leadership touching the lives of Abians with his performance. People are defecting to Labour Party in Abia State as well. And not by pressure or promise of second term, but because no one can challenge the sitting governor. He has done marvelously within 2 years. Not to be pressured into the ruling party because of second tenure or fear of being prosecuted for misappropriation of state funds. Only your performance will save you, is what I don't see your name here. Okay, Bright Mez is the thought that he's sharing on that. All defections are going on. It's not only the opposition that is bleeding, but also Nigeria and Nigerians. Each time I ponder what this country has been turned into, I feel pained. They are defecting for 2027. The defectors are claiming the reason behind their action is because of these administration's achievements so far. What are these achievements is the question that Gabriel in Lube is asking. Only them can feel it. We, the common Nigerians, cannot feel it at all. We can only feel hardship. Considering what the masses are going through, Nigerians would have used their party brooms to sweep them off, is a thought that Gabriel in Lube shares. Let's get back to the phone lines. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah, my name is KGB.
Welcome, KGB. Go ahead.
Yeah, I tell you, somebody said it, but I am still telling you that not only as Atiku is doomed, but Nigeria is doomed. I tell you, that is Nigeria. Is it this defection we are talking about? This defection is nothing to me as far as I'm concerned. We know why the defection. You are coerced, you are intimidated with UEFCC and the police or anything to do what? This is what we are to do. If not, the person will be disgraced. And the person has no choice but to get it. And look at INEC.
So are you alleging, hold on, KGB, are you alleging that everybody who decided to defect from one party to the other,
again?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Are you saying that anybody who decides to defect from party A to party B has been threatened or forced to do that against their will?
Any person that is defecting to ruling party, the party ruling party, are being coerced, being intimidated, being used, being intimidated with EFCC, is being given an order. This is what we are to do, or you see the other thing. Then,
is this based on what you've seen in person firsthand, or you're just alleging or assuming that's how it plays out? Because it would be unfair to put all of that accusation on those who have decided to jump ship.
We can see from near, from closer and afar. One. Then let me talk about the INEC. You can see 2015. I don't know if you voted 2015. The one we did to get PVC and the money spent, and at the end of the day now, that exercise is effort in utility. That is one. You can see 2015 in the far north or even in the north. Some people voted 5 times. When you vote, you go behind and queue and come again. What am I saying?
But the machine does not allow for that. Did that happen in your polling unit?
You can't be my polling unit now because I voted in Abuja and Abuja cannot tolerate that.
So why do you think it happened in other polling units?
You come behind me or come in my front to vote again. Abuja voters are wiser than those ones. And in that aspect, do you know that the same 2015, a lot happened that what I'm trying to tell you is that this telling you that anybody can just come and vote without PVC is another ingredient of open rigging.
All right, thank you very much for your thoughts. Let's get to you now. Your device is on. Move away from it. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, Vicky, this is Chris. I'm calling from the Express, Abuja Express.
Welcome, Chris. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chris. Go ahead, sir.
Fine. I just want to find, actually take the line of the last caller.
Yes.
I wanted to laugh when you began to ask him questions as if you don't understand what he's saying. As if the man does not.
Am I not allowed to ask questions to get clarity on what he means?
I know when you were cross-questioning him, I think you don't understand what he was saying. But the truth be told, if you look at Okowa, if you look at the current Senate president, if you look at Odius Okalo, all these people that have cases with EFCC, once they migrate or cross carpet or jump over to APC, their cases are dropped. But what he was saying, just taking the options. And even in the studio, you are a Nigerian and you've been living here, you know what we are talking about. So if EFCC comes after me today, there's this the way they come as if they come at a gunpoint. You either move over or we'll finish you with EFCC. Sometimes I might not have a choice. But before you know it, I'm already campaigning for whoever, against my will. But the thing is this, what goes around comes around. Because if for anything, another political party comes on board, they will even do worse than APC is doing today. And those who are clapping for APC for what they are doing, we have no choice but also clap for the other people who will come.
All right.
Now, finally, I think I see Atiku Abubakar as just he's deliberately playing a spoiler because he's not even visible to the blind that he cannot make any impact on 2027.
All right, Chris, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Welcome. Yes, sir.
That Itodo. I greet you.
Greet you too. Good afternoon.
I greet you. I greet all the callers and listeners. So not from Niger State. The thing is,
Yes.
on top of my polling unit, this 2023 election, because in my area, they are popular. You understand? They are hustling for vote. Whatever. This and this, your own person, I'll come and vote. I'll break my own God in my own way. Whatever. And then I see, I don't want to suffer the way I suffered 2015. For me, I know who to vote for. All of them just turn and look at me. You understand? That is it. But today, that day, they were laughing at it. Today, we're all crying. They cannot stand in my face and talk to me again. You understand? That is it. Some people voted more than 5 times. I'm telling you this. Thinking.
So, hold on.
If I thought the machine is working, why not the machine to capture on the edge?
Hold on, Donatus. Let me get something straight. When you say one person voted more than 5 times, can you give a clear instance as to where this happened and if you witnessed it?
Oh my God.
Hold on now. Let's have this conversation. Hold on. Because we're made to understand that the beavers does not allow for that to happen. So are you saying that it was bypassed and there was a way to make that play out in some polling units?
Let me tell you, there's how to regulation. If I thought maybe the ruling party or the party is dead, you understand, are in charge of that polling unit, you are entitled to vote 20 times. I'm telling you, beavers. These people.
All right, Donatus, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Let's go on to our live feed right now on Facebook. Prince Zeze says the audio is bad. Anybody else having an issue hearing me clearly? If you are, please let me know so we can, work on that. But Prince Zeze on Facebook says he has an issue hearing clearly. While God's Will Essien says Nigerian politics operates not as a vehicle for public service, but as a sophisticated ecosystem of self-enrichment disguised as governance. The political landscape reveals not merely an absence of people-oriented policies, but a deliberate architecture designed to extract maximum personal benefits while maintaining the veneer of democratic representation. Gibson, the audio is scrambled. Can you double check and go on to maybe the YouTube platform? Let's see if that is a lot better. Okay, let me know if WhatsApp, YouTube, I beg your pardon, is better than what you are hearing on Facebook. Obunike Paul says Nigerian politicians lack the moral decadence, no ideology and respect for their followers. While Sunday Daniel says we are slowly slipping into a one-party system and it is not a good look for the country. The ruling party isn't performing to expectations to say that we are impressed, like the Abia State governor. But the defection is for self-political gain. God help us and hope that Nigerians have learned. Joseph Orim says it's not about the intro of cards, but the problem is manipulation with the exercises, or excuse rather, of glitches using security persons to harass electorates from defending their votes. Okay, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And on Facebook, please give me that update if you can hear clearly, so we can work on that and see how we can get it improved. Let's go on to the WhatsApp platform, take some of your voice notes, and then we'll jump right into our third story on the round table for today. Ensure that the voice note is under 90 seconds as well. That is 1 minute, 30 seconds or less, and we can take it. Good afternoon.
Itodo, this is Dunamis calling you from Nasarawa. You know, good afternoon. Our politicians here in Nigeria, their attitude is like a man who is traveling without a destination. And so if you don't have a destination, wherever you get to, that happens to be your destination. And so these people don't have a destination. They don't have plan for anybody. What they know is their self, their children, their family, and that's all. So any other person does not matter except their self. So for me, these are people without focus. These are people without any driving purpose. And that's why they are doing whatever they like to do. And let's continue to see. In Nigeria, we don't believe that our vote counts, but we will continue to do our best coming out to vote, and we also continue to encourage other people to come out in mass. Let's do what is our right. And I will pray that the good Lord Almighty will see us through in Jesus' name.
Greetings, Itodo. Greetings to other listeners. My name is Tom. I'm reaching you from Gwarimpa. Defection. More will still defect into APC because these are politicians. Many of them, they lack ideology. Many of them, they don't have the interest of this country at all. They are only working after their pocket. Stomach infrastructure is their major reasons of politics. Call it governor, minister, or whichever, any docile or relevant position they are holding in Nigeria. They don't have the interest of this nation at all. Other countries are developing, venturing into innovation, gathering idea here and there to see how their country will move forward. They are busy defecting from one party to another. If Nigeria is a well-structured country, as the former governor of Delta State defected alongside with his ally, the present governor of Delta State, the best thing the PDP would have done is to relieve them of that office they are holding. If party system is actually working, if judiciary is working, this is a party that brought you into limelight. At the end of the day, because you've calculated that you have problem with EFCC and the rest of it because of looting and alleged stolen whatever it may be, you decide to defect in order that because they said when you decamp to APC, your sins are forgiven.
Good afternoon, Itodo. My name is Maxwell from Sulega. There is nothing INEC we're planning today concerning the election of this country that I, Maxwell, will believe in. Reason is because INEC as an organization is a scam. All the deflection you're seeing, they know they cannot survive on their own in other parties. They know INEC currently right now is working for APC. INEC is working for the APC. So everybody feel staying in other party, you're wasting your time. When you know election will come, INEC will still carry and give it to APC. So why are you there? That is the meaning of all this deflection. They don't need to tell us. We know. My own personal opinion, I know. Thank you.
All right, let's move on now to our third big story for today. The federal government releases 50 billion naira to offset earned allowances of university workers. Now, the federal government has announced this in a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Ministry of Education. Said the development was another testament to the president's unwavering commitment to fundamentally transform Nigeria's education sector. Now, earned allowances are monetary benefits specifically for academic and non-academic staff in universities, stemming from the 2009 ASU and federal government agreements. They are designed to motivate and support staff and are a key component of industrial harmony in the country's university system. Now, the statement quoted the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, as noting that the move reflects the administration's bold resolve to transition the nation from a resource-based to a knowledge-based economy through strategic investments in education, infrastructure, and human capital. Now, he expressed the president's appreciation to both academic and non-academic unions for their sustained trust in his administration and for fostering an atmosphere of peace, cooperation across federal universities. Now, remember, ASU and other unions have been here before, payments being made, some being owed, and many are hoping that this does not become a circle over and over again. Now, will this payment improve learning conditions? What's the long-term fix for funding and reforming university autonomy? Do you think this funds given will end the crisis or maybe delay the next one? We haven't heard about any strike actions, even though some have been threatened in the last year, but none has gone through or become active in a while. And this has somewhat been a steady school session without any breaks in between due to strike actions by the university lecturers or the non-academic staff who have constantly spoken about the need for the federal government to honor the agreement that they had in 2009. Let's get back to the phone lines on the WhatsApp platform. We'll take some of your calls. 08099930137. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, Dikin Itodo.
Good afternoon, sir.
I agree the Agaba, the one and only.
Thank you very much.
I want to commend the federal government for, most especially this money disposed to ASU. I say kudos to the federal government, and we want to see the effect so that we don't want to hear any ASU strike again. You can imagine the person that is supposed to spend 3 years in school will end up spending 7 years, 10 years, most especially this medical student. So I pray they will use that money to offset the backlog of the areas that they've been agitating for. Then come to the issue of these voters. They don't have to use voters. I disagree with that. In fact, even that time, in some places, they didn't use beaver. They just cook up and wrote results. Now they are going to give people guarantee of to just go. You person may decide to vote for this polling booth and come out from this place, go to another place and vote, and go to another place and vote. They must make use of this permanent voters card. They suffer or they make us to come out in rain and in sun to register for this permanent voters card, and we struggle to get this in. And now they are saying that they want to avert it. You don't have to have permanent voters.
No,
That is the fraud.
Selassie, hold on.
In order to
Can you hear me, Selassie?
Yes, sir.
According to the reports, the PVCs will still be active, but for those who cannot get theirs, there's an option for them to, maybe print a temporary option from the INEC website.
Permanently, you must get the permanent voters card. They shouldn't say it's optional. If you don't have it, you can just go and cast your vote. No! You must get it. Where are you when they were registering the permanent voters card? Where were the people? Where were we that we struggle to get this permanent voters card? Where were other people? In fact, they must use it, because even in other places, some places you see that you don't win the promised using of beavers. They couldn't use it. They just cook up, they say in work and so on and so forth. I remember the former INEC chairman promised Nigerians that they are going to transmit the result live. Did he do that? No, is that some cook-out story they just bring by and say, no, it's this and that. He promised Nigeria at the Chatham House that they must transmit the result live as they're casting the vote. Did he do that? Now they want to bring on another story, say, you don't have to use it. Nigeria must get the permanent voters card in order to vote. I disagree with that. Thank you.
Selassie, thank you very much. Welcome.
I got my one.
Good afternoon.
I got my one.
How are you, sir?
I greet my very good friends, Selassie. I greet Abubakar. I greet everybody.
Welcome.
I just on my radio now. I hear Selassie talking. I just on my radio, and one time I dialed this number. Just enter like that, and you pick it. Thank you for taking my call.
Welcome. Go ahead.
If I hear my very well, this is the Dabak Bushy. If I hear my friend very well saying that, yes, sir, say that the so-called APC are coming up with another agenda that you can vote without voters card.
Well, INEC is trying to legalize voting without the PVC. They're trying to make it easier for people who are unable to get their PVCs to not be disenfranchised from voting during the elections.
It be like they want to play us another movie again. Hey. You know what people pass through before they can get the voters card? People suffer. Some people they slept in the registration center. Some people spend 1 month coming back here and there, forth and back. Wahala every day. Waiting they do this APC, waiting their problem. What have we done to them to deserve all this type of wicked and hopeless policy? They don't know anything. They are hungry that they want to.
No, hold on, Elder. Now, don't you think this will make people who are unable to get their PVCs first, or make voting easy for everyone across board? And this could also give room to those who are unable to pick up these PVCs to vote from anywhere they are in the country.
Hey, Itodo, you have a point. But let me tell you one thing. If you on Monday, on Tuesday, some of the northern leaders, they are saying that by 2027, Tinubu is not going to get support. And the highest number always comes from the north. And that is why they are coming up with this one, that if they can introduce this policy, they are not going to say and not have the number, that number belongs to them anymore. So they can stay anywhere from this anywhere and press. At the end of the day, they will say, yes, we don't win. I'm telling you, see, these people, the more you look at them, the less you see. This agenda cannot work. This kind of thing is not, no. Yeah, no. They should use our voter card. And they should allow us to go through the, what's the name of this thing? Is it IRF?
The Beavers.
Beavers. Let us use Beavers. Let the whole thing be going as we are voting. We can see it. Transmit the whole thing through the system. Let us see the result immediately. Not that they will come and announce the night when people are sleeping. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Let's take some messages right now, shall we? We'll go onto the WhatsApp platform and take some of your thoughts. INEC and Nassernan Assembly should be talking about electronic voting like other countries of the world. as voting without PVC will create room for multiple voting. This is what OKJ shares. And talking about the defection, I think nobody should bother. Let all the state governors join the ruling party. Nigeria succeeds when God is involved. God is already involved, patiently waiting for their political permutations, and he will definitely catch them in their craftiness, is what Papa Shunammite in Gidamangoro shares. Right, and Igwe in Dawaki says, it seems shameful the way people are decamping, even with the bad record and what Nigerians are complaining about. Come 2027, Nigerians will vote who they will vote for. The hardship is touching everybody, is what Igwe in Dawaki shares. And Nigerians shout with disdain when they hear tendency towards one-party state, is how Banki in Wusetu begins his message. China and Singapore, with many of us shouting praise of one-party state. A West African military leader recently said that democracy does not develop countries or does not help developing countries. And this is very true. As much as democracy gives a lot of freedom, it's also a waste of time in many of its facets. Elections, check and balances, lawsuits, demonstrations, and so on. The only way we can make democracy worthwhile in Nigeria is to give enough time for governance, like 3 terms of 7 years each. If not, political wizards will be playing games that will give them good room for governance, is how Banki ends his thoughts. So Banki, are you saying that one person should rule for 21 years for them to be able to make any reasonable change in the country that they're ruling or leading, preferably? Well, the governors are not the only ones that will vote, but the masses. Only a coward will leave where they love or where they are loved and go where they are not wanted, is what Olaleye Babalola in Katankwe shares. All right. And INEC's option is not acceptable, is what Innocent Wisdom in Gwagwa shares, while Nemeka in Karamu says Nigeria is a funny country that when the government performs their basic responsibility, they're expected to be praised. So the government paying university lecturers is now big news, is what Nemeka shares. While Ngozi in Apo says people can easily forge these documents and fill the election papers and declare somebody winner. The policy is not clear and secure. Let's get to this voice note quickly. Good afternoon.
My name is Manuel from Biaji, Cuba. Tinubu think he's going to punish Nigeria. The way they are going to punish him, God has sworn the secrecy. Nothing now are going to take the government from Tinubu. What's I say they are trying to introduce another one now. Let him be there, think he's wise. It's not wise enough. A tree cannot form a forest. Let him punish Nigeria. The end is 2027. From 2027, Tinubu will no more as a president. He will become a normal citizen. What's what I'm saying? What's I say? I'm saying it. The battle is between Tinubu and the Northerner. We'll see.
All right.
We'll hear and we'll see it. And it will be clear for everybody.
Thank you for your thoughts. Welcome.
Hello?
Yes. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Itodo. Abubakar calling from Gwagwalada.
Welcome, sir.
I agree, Selassie. I agree, Elder Agbambushi. Nothing is new under the surface, under the sky, on the surface of the earth. Most of our politicians who are opportune to be in power, so they don't always learn from the history, the lessons of history. They never learn from lessons of history. They will have their way. They are legalizing electoral illegality so that a person can vote in any circumstances, whether you have PVC or not. We are watching. We are watching. Injustice shall never prevail, and it has never prevailed anywhere in the world. Go and check the history of the many countries of the world. It will not be perpetual. So one day, Monkey will go market. Will come back. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Abubakar, for sharing your thoughts. It's 3:57 right here. At 4 o'clock, it'll be time for Abuja today before we move on to our next conversation around how startups can help to grow the economy with their innovations. But let's look through the WhatsApp platform and take some of your thoughts, as well as check the live feed on YouTube and Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. In case you've missed out anything, you can go on to the live feed right now to be a part of the conversation and still catch up and share some of your thoughts. All right, so quick messages. Okay, coalition is dead on arrival. Those defecting have nothing to do with it. The EFCC chasing anyone for any corrupt case, it's just a simple calculation for 2027. Some months ago, many thought that the president will have those running to him. His re-election is certain, and I'm assuring those out there that we are with him, is what Malam Edem May Cameroon shares as his thoughts. And Jacob Ode in Madala says, whomever bangs his or her trust in the current crop of politicians does so at their own risk. What is happening now is purely calculation against the next election. Nothing more, nothing less, is how Jacob Ode ends his thoughts. And Cash Money says, all those defections are common with politicians. It's not surprising. I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. Okay. I advise Nigerians to relax. No one can arrest you for not voting, is what Cash Money says. Well, it's your right to vote, to ensure that you vote when it is election time. A good place to take a pause right now. Go on a quick break. When we come back, Dorcas is here for the news. Abuja Today. We'll talk some more.
Stay on track with Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info.